Today I am going to die. In moments they are going to place a noose made of thick rope around my delicate neck and I will hang. I stand here on this scaffold, condemned for a crime I did not commit. My name is Faith Aylworth, and like so many others, I have been accused of being a witch. Even now, as the slight breeze blows through my hair and my eyes look down upon the fearful, resolute faces, I cannot believe this is my reality. I can smell the fear wafting off my own body. My hands tremble, and my knees threaten to collapse. I turn to the hangman and see the sweat percolating on his brow. For a moment I wonder if he feels the slightest bit of pity for me. But then he fingers the rope in anticipation. And I realise I have no friends here. I swallow hard as my mind traces back to the time I shared a dark, cold cell with an enslaved woman called Tituba. She was at the spearhead of this terrible paranoia. It was from her mouth that I first heard firsthand the things that put all of this death and destruction into motion. A poor, vulnerable woman who had pointed the finger of death to save herself. But don't be too harsh in judgment. She is just another victim of a time when Salem fell into Satan's palm. I would like to bequeath this story to you, if you don't mind, as I have no one else. It began with an innocent game, or so it seemed. 9-year-old Betty Paris and her 11-year-old cousin, Abigail Williams, were together in the woods where their activities would go unnoticed. They were seeking glimpses of their future, but instead saw visions of doom. It was a forbidden game of fortune-telling, where you would get a glance of your future by dropping an egg white into a glass of water. But it wasn't the future either girl expected, because in that cloudy water spawned the image of a coffin. Of death. The image sent the girls into a panic and they lost their minds with fear. They rolled on the ground, barked like dogs and became hysterical, weeping about their dark future. The words that came out of their mouths made no sense. Betty's father was deeply concerned about the girls' condition. Samuel Paris was the pastor of the village church, and it wouldn't reflect well on the church or the Paris family if the girls were acting out. So Pastor Paris called Dr. Griggs to come and take a look at the girls. 1 minute the girls were catatonic, and the next they were screaming and pointing at the ceiling at flying spectres that tormented them. If a lone cat was in their vicinity, they screamed and climbed the furniture. If a bird perched too long, the girls would throw themselves on the ground and tear at their hair. Dr. Griggs had never seen anything like it. He couldn't explain it, so he relayed to Reverend Paris that his girls were under an evil hand. In other words, witchcraft. And if it was witchcraft, then someone was a witch. After Betty and Abigail went into hysterics after seeing their doom in a cloudy glass of water and eggs, someone had witnessed their folly. It was Tituba. The girls confessed that they had engaged in fortune-telling and had seen a coffin for their trouble. Tituba baked a witch cake made of rye meal and piss, and the girls had eaten the cake to reverse the so-called possession. But those ungrateful girls turned on Tituba at the first chance they got. Betty and Abigail told Reverend Paris that Tituba had fed them the witch cake, insinuating that this was the cause of their condition. Paris confronted Tituba, demanding that she confess to practicing witchcraft and causing the girls affliction, but she wasn't willing to confess to a lie, until he started savagely beating her. There was only so much a person could take. And so she did what many of us would do to stop the Paris' savagery. She confessed, and so much more. She told a fanciful tale of flying through the air on sticks with the girls and of a big black dog instructing her to hurt them. She told of being visited by demon pigs and rats and of a white-haired man demanding that she sign her name in the Devil's Book. But she didn't stop there. She told of even more witches nestled deep in the flesh of Salem, a whole nest. And thus, the seeds were sown. And the witch hunt began.